What's going on, MFs? Welcome back to the Snake Pit. This is episode 202. Today, my guest is Ricki Castanieto. She is a art student at Texas Tech, and she works with plants and does all of that stuff, really cool stuff. And we kind of got into that. We got into history. We got into aliens. We got into philosophy. We got into fucking witchcraft. We got into all of it. So, hope you guys enjoy this one. I hope you... if you're new, you can give us a subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can support the podcast. That's the easy and free way to do it. Rate, review, subscribe to the iTunes or Spotify and the YouTube channel. Comment, repost, reshare. These are easy, free ways to help support us. We're also on patreon.com/snakepitstudios for $5 a month. That's a great way you can support us as well. We have merch available, and just hit me up for that if you want, or check out the website. Other than that, guys, I hope you enjoy this one, and thanks, and it's good to be back. We'll see you guys next time.
It's Rattlesnake Roy.
Yo. I'm glad to be back, finally. We've already done one post at 200, but we're back with a different crew. Jennifer's at work, but you did Lords of Film, which you guys should check out. That's episode 13. Mm-hmm. So if people aren't listening or didn't listen, can you please introduce yourself, kind of let us know who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Ricki Castanieto. I'm a art history student. I study horticulture.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
It didn't record.
You're good.
There you go. Now it's recording. Sorry.
No, you're good. My name is Ricki Castanieto. I'm a tech student. I study art. I study plants. I work on the Mesquite Mile project, which is a land art project. It's an intersectional project that kind of combines landscape architecture, art, horticulture. I used to do social media stuff for the College of Visual and Performing Arts. I did a podcast.
You did? You had a podcast?
Mm-hmm. It was called The Inside Kids. I talked to faculty and students at Tech from the schools of theater, dance, music, art. We talked about issues in media. We talked about dance competitions. We talked about representation of people of color, LGBTQ plus community, advocation in media, in music, in theater, and all that kind of cool stuff.
So let's talk about this podcast, because I was interested in that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to overspeak on Lords of Film. I actually don't even want to say anything because it's her podcast, but now we can talk about it.
Yeah.
What was did you start it? How did that happen?
So I first got a taste of the Inside Kids because I was a guest. My boss at the time had invited me to speak to be a guest. And at the time, I was working at the School of Art. I was a gallery attendant, so I was in the art gallery on campus, and I was helping put up exhibitions, take them down for when traveling artists would come in and out. And at that job, I just kind of took over the position of social media management. So the School of Art had an Instagram, a Facebook, Twitter, and anytime
shout out to the lawn man out there, motherfucker.
he's doing his best. Anytime a new show or a guest artist would come speak, I would post about it online, and who would become my future boss, he invited me onto the podcast to talk about that and talk about what I was doing as a student and how I got involved with the university. And from that point on, I left the School of Art to join the college, the marketing department of the College of Visual and Performing Arts. And then I just took over the podcast, and it became my job to reach out to students, to teachers. I talked about, there's one of my favorite episodes. I talked to one of my art history professors about art and what was it? True crime conspiracy theories. We talked about the Black Dahlia murder and how that intersected with the surrealism art movement.
Can you look that up? I don't know what that what is it called?
The Black Dahlia. So Elizabeth Short was a woman who was alive in I want to say the 1940s, and it was one of the most prolific unsolved crimes at the time. She was last seen at this hotel, and her body was found drained of all blood, cut in half. There was a smile a Gregorian smile like cut into her face, and like nobody could figure out like who
That's wicked.
did it. And there was like this theory that the man who they thought might have done it was like,
Wow, she was beautiful.
I know,
Who is
right?
that?
She was
That's
an
the lady who
actress.
got her face cut?
Yeah, that's Elizabeth Short. Yeah,
Oh my
that's her.
God. That's insane.
Yeah.
Known for murder victim.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Wow.
this sparked a movement in art.
Not really. Well, kinda. There were some artists, there were some photographers, some painters that kind of took inspiration from how like mutilated she was and took that and made their art kind of like abstracted in a way. And some people say that, I forget the name of the guy who they thought did it, but they said that he was friends with a photographer or some artist like Man Ray at the time. And like he wanted to like make he wanted to like cut somebody up. And,
So
like,
did
make
the
them
photos
look
get published?
Mm-mm.
How did everybody
I don't
see
think
them?
so.
That's incredible.
I don't know. It was like a shared art thing.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like
It's like an
you're in
insider
the
thing.
know. Yeah, if you were
Right.
in the art world, you were in the know.
Jeez, that's intense.
There was a total of 60 confessions,
Mm-hmm.
most made by men.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
How many?
60.
60.
Oh shit. Dude, what the
Well, people
fuck?
kind of
I love watching murder docs.
people kind of romanticize this, right?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
That's exactly. They probably wanted to be famous.
They need to do
The-
a doc on that.
There's a movie.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
There's a movie, there's a TV show that like TNT produced like a couple years ago. The hotel where she was last seen definitely like tries to profit on the fact that like, oh, we were the last place that the last Dahlia was, or the Black Dahlia was ever seen. And like it's a haunted building. I think it's the Cecil Hotel. It's in
Oh, is it?
All
Okay,
press is
I
good
have
press.
heard of that one. There's been some interesting things that have happened at
some
that
freaky
hotel.
shit. Yeah.
Are you into that shit? Like
Like true crime and like murder documentaries and yeah.
doesn't freak you out?
Not really.
Do you watch it at like night and shit? What
Yes.
the man? I don't
Yes.
What's
understand
the
that shit.
crazy-
I watch Criminal Minds to go to sleep.
Oh my god.
What's the craziest murder doc in recent memory for you?
Craziest?
Mine's Night Stalker.
Is that
Yeah.
Richard Ramirez?
Yeah,
Dude,
Richard
that
Ramirez.
was a fucking wild
That
one.
one's
Yeah.
like crazy.
Where they interviewed like the
Insane,
girl that
bro.
he did things. Oh my god. That was horrible.
Dude, that guy creeps me out. He's the reason why I lock my windows at night.
what the fuck? You should
Yeah, I
anyways.
was about to say you should.
I know, but I'm saying that's why I check them. Because
That's why you need a dog.
on days like
Telling
that,
you.
on days like today, and you know the beginning of the fall. That's the best time to open up your windows and just let the fresh air in.
That's why you need a dog.
But you better double check your windows. So
Don't be telling people this, bro. They're gonna listen and
Richard Ramirez is out there.
they're gonna be getting ideas listening. That's why I'm like scared when I share information on here. I'm like, we have so much.
Hey Bradley, I got something you can Google too. When
we
you
have
get
so
that.
much information on here.
How many active serial killers are in Texas right now?
Oh my god.
Probably a lot.
Probably a lot.
At least how? What's your guess?
I'm gonna say 10.
10?
I was gonna say like 15.
15?
I'll
Brad?
say 8.
I'm gonna say 23.
But how do they know this number?
I don't know, but these pinche moscas just flew in.
No, dude, I'm about to go get the damn fly sweater.
I should have brought my chameleon. Set him right here.
Bro, that would have been cool. We should do a podcast with him one day.
Okay. We'll let him
With
catch
him
all
on the
flies,
table.
bro. We'll put him on fly patrol.
Does he catch him?
Yeah.
Is he good at it?
Yeah,
He
good.
learned. Well, how do you know if there's
He
an
didn't learn.
like-
I didn't teach him.
Well, you also got like, how do they know?
So it doesn't say, but right now the highest victims from serial killers, California has 1,608, and then Texas, number 2, has 893. So that's a big difference.
But we also have the border. Like, you know, all those folks probably killing everybody at the border.
Well, and I feel like Texas doesn't really like report a lot of
All those immigrants that die,
Mhm.
probably way more.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
Did you read about that one in San Antonio? They were in that 18-wheeler
Yeah,
trailer.
it's fucking sad.
Yeah.
How many was that? Dude, that's
It was a
horrible.
lot. I think it was 40.
Yeah.
Bad shit, people. Bad
Crazy.
shit.
This
Jesus
is a dark podcast.
Yeah, let's
There
get
you
back.
go.
Let's get back on. I'm also interested in your life a little bit. Now, are you native Hawaiian?
Not technically, no. I was just born there and I lived there. I was raised there. My mom's white and my dad was half Filipino, half Chamorro. So his mom was from Guam.
Guam. What is it, Chamorro?
Chamorro, yeah.
Oh shit. Dang. So, but you were just born. Why were your parents there?
My dad had been he had just gotten out of the military. He was an airborne ranger, and he moved there. A lot of people from the Philippines actually do tend to move to Hawaii just because it's like the the terrain is like comparable, I guess. I just know a lot of Filipino people are like out there. My mom had family who like affluent like family who live out there, and she went to like work for them.
And how long did you live there? Your whole life?
Until I was 10.
Did you do some surfing? I was wanting to ask you about it.
Yeah.
Are you a surfer?
Not anymore, but I did when I was younger. The most comparable thing that I do now is like I ride my longboard every once in a while.
Bradley does that. Bradley likes to go out and...
Yeah, we need to get some longboards.
I like a penny board, but yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Go out and...
It's groovy, dude.
Yeah.
Especially in the evenings, whenever it's cooling down. So you went from living there to the States, like obviously
mainland.
The mainland, the continental U.S. Yeah, we moved in 2008 or 9, around like that whole like economic decline. And my family bought an RV in California, and we like drove across the country for a little while. So I bounced around a lot. I lived the longest allotted amount of time that I've lived anywhere like else is like either Hawaii. I lived in Portland, Oregon for about a year, and then Flint, Michigan was a trip, and then we moved down here.
You lived in Flint?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. In 6th grade, and my 6th grade class was like in the basement of like this like office building.
Y'all weren't during the water crisis thing, were y'all?
I skipped right over that.
Man, you got lucky. You missed the nuclear.
I missed the nuclear thing, and I missed the shitty water.
Bro, did you ever hear about that? The nuke thing in Hawaii?
No.
There was...
So I believe it was like 16 or 17. The state of Hawaii.
We're right in the midst of with like Korea and North Korea and everything.
Yeah.
Well, I remember whenever that false alarm. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
It's the false alarm.
Bro, there's a story of this woman. She was like in the center between her two children. Like one was on this side of the city and the other one was on the other side. And she was like, "Who do I go to?" It was like, that's a wild story. She was like deciding who do I go save, because I can only save one or be with one.
Because we talked about this during Lords of Film, but when I worked in Dallas, my manager is native Hawaiian, and he was telling me that he was there when it happened. He was walking his dog out in the park, and I guess one of his family members called them, and he was like, I didn't freak out. I kind of just accepted that this was it, and I lived a good life for what it was so far. And I just waited with my dog.
That has to be the most freeing.
And then it never happened.
That feeling he felt probably was the most freeing feeling of all time.
Probably.
Just you're like, fuck it. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that was like a little bit of like ecstasy coming, from that. You're like,
have you ever fantasized about that?
Fuck no. What the hell?
Never have?
Fuck no.
Dying?
Yeah, well, like, that scene in The Iron Giant? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do know what you're talking about.
So, I mean, I've been fantasizing about that kind of thing in terms of like, oh shit, we have 48 hours to live. Mm-hmm. There's a comet or there's something about to hit Earth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
So,
what would you do, Roy?
I'm dying drunk and having sex. That's what I'm doing.
There you go.
So Jim Carrey.
It's a regular Saturday for you, huh?
Yeah, one last time though.
So Jim Carrey was there in Hawaii when that happened.
Really?
And he wrote it in his book, and this is the cover. It's the picture behind it was, I think his daughter took a screenshot of him when they were FaceTiming. So that's like his actual like fear.
Wow.
But he had explained it too, that they tried everything in his power to get off the island. They tried to get boats, and it was not going to be enough time. And he had the same thing too, where he just like was free. Like, I lived a great life. That's it.
The most freeing feeling ever.
For some people,
because it's
yeah.
either that or you have to worry about like trying to escape this place like alive. Like the anxiety that you probably have trying, like just hoping and like wishing that you don't die is kind of like
and then
nerve-wracking.
because I told you last time, even the concept of Hawaii is scary because you're just out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
True. You're like,
but let's say if that happened to Lubbock, there'd probably be a few people that would be able to get out of here before it hit.
You might as well just go to right where it's gonna hit, because you'll die.
I wonder how many people killed themselves.
I'm sure there was a few. I don't know. I've never looked into how many did.
Can you get collateral? Can you sue the military and get?
I don't know, but we're going dark again. Sorry.
I'm sure people got some money from the state. I'm sure.
It's just like an error, right? They just accidentally sent it out.
That's what they say, but hell, you never know.
That's so insane. But at least you would die in paradise. Imagine being in Lubbock, Texas. Fuck.
Yeah, that'd be fucking shitty. Imagine, like, I've thought about this actually, like a nuke. Imagine living past the nuke. So now you got to survive the post-nuke, like,
wasteland,
everything that's coming from that, and everybody's going crazy. You're gonna have to eat people probably. It's fucking. That would be the worst. You're just gonna die. Hit the missile right here, so I can die instantly because I ain't trying to fight.
I wonder how many people just went out and tried to ride the biggest wave they could find.
Isn't that where they go?
And this was the alert that everyone got. Could you imagine looking at your phone?
There is no threat.
It's like, it's not an Amber Alert. It's we're about to die. But could you imagine this is not an alert? And then I think it was like 45 minutes later, they received this right here. There is no missile threat or danger to the state of Hawaii. Repeat, false alarm.
Do you know much about Hawaiian history?
I know some, not terribly much.
Because there was a monarch, right? There was a king, or they had like a royal family.
Yeah, his name was The Rock. No,
he's Samoan. He ain't Hawaiian.
Oh, my bad.
It was a monarchy for a while, until I want to say like the 1800s, like 1883 or something like that. At that point, we had a queen, and she like renounced her throne to like protect ancient Hawaiian people's like rights, because the state of Hawaii like was and still is like actually being what's the word, like illegally like habited by America.
Technically,
yes. Like Hawaii is its own like nation, like state, but it's being they use a specific like word.
Is it annexed?
Is it just we did annex it? We just were like, it's a state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm wondering,
legally occupied.
It was for military use.
That's what I'm wondering, right? It's a strategic place, Pearl Harbor. That shout out to World War II.
That's what makes that so real. Is that would be the first place we get hit.
Have you seen that? Did you go to that? Because can't you see like the ships that sunk? Did you go to that?
I'm from a different island, and that's on Oahu. I never made it out there but I know about it. But I've never been out.
Which island are you from?
The Big Island.
The Big Island?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so were you in Honolulu or?
That's
right?
Oahu. Yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of BJ Penn? No. Okay.
Is he a surfer?
No, he was an MMA fighter.
Isn't he running for governor?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he is. He was on Rogan.
BJ Penn. Anyway,
yeah. That's a lot of people feel a lot of ways about things like that. I'm just like, I've wondered like, why didn't we just establish a base there and say, fuck it, you guys can do what you want. We'll just like, what's the point of making it a state? I don't know.
You
could have just did like Puerto Rico, make it a whatever they do.
Territory.
Yeah. There's a statue in Hawaii. I've seen pictures of it, but he's on a beach where he's like this,
and there's surfboards.
Yes, yeah.
He's got the headdress, or it's like just a regular guy, like in an aloha shirt.
I believe there's surfboards behind them. You know who I'm talking about? Let me see.
Possibly. There's like a famous statue of one of like the monarchs.
I'm just looking. I don't really know.
But there is also, I think there's a statue of. Is it that guy?
It is not that guy.
Okay, then I know who you're talking about, but I don't know.
You want me to get the fly swatter?
It's like Duke something.
It
maybe.
is
take him out if he
Duke.
gets fly swatter.
That bay is named after him.
This
too.
guy, yeah, it's a surf like a
that dude, yeah.
Yeah, I've always wondered who that was. I never like looked into it, but every time there's like a movie set in Hawaii, there's always a shot of that statue.
It's that one or it's that other.
Can you pronounce that last name for us? Duke.
Kahanamoku.
Duke. That's what I can pronounce, Duke.
Yeah.
Duke Kahanamoku.
With my old manager being Hawaiian, I got to learn a lot. just by what the stories he was telling me. He was explaining that, it's very touristy. There's like all these nice parts, but a lot of people don't realize how much like poverty there is in the state, and just how like the natives are kind of just stuck there.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this too. So there's no boats that go between the islands. So if you're on an island and you can't afford a plane ticket,
exactly,
you are stuck in that
That's
island.
why I never like went to any of the other islands before. We just didn't have the money to ever like take a vacation type thing. My parents went to, I think they went to Kauai for like their honeymoon, and that was like the only time they ever like island hopped.
Whoa, I didn't realize that. It's not that easy to get across, right?
So are plane tickets to the mainland still like very expensive? Yeah. That's wild. Because he was explaining to me that's why a lot of them, a lot of native Hawaiians join the military in hope they could get stationed somewhere on the mainland.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why my dad joined the military when he was living in the Philippines. He didn't even like get a GED. He like dropped out of school to like get away from like that like same situation.
Damn, I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, your dad's Filipino, and he joined the U.S. Army. They you can do that. Oh, damn. We got a big base over there too, don't we?
I think so. Yeah.
Dude, I've been reading a lot about World War II history. This is all because of Japan. They conquered everything, and then we went and took it from them. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
those motherfuckers.
I didn't realize that's what happened. So
they were imperialists, bro. They were taking everything. China, all the islands, Thailand, everything.
I thought it kicked off because of Hitler.
Well, our beef with Japan was because of that. Because we had a lot of people over there. Money. There's a lot of money going in between us and Asia at that time.
Right.
And then they were like raping and pillaging everything. Everybody was like, you got to stop this. That's what happened.
And they came at us with some kamikaze pilots.
Those are fucking crazy stories too. Those motherfuckers don't even. Well, that's a whole different.
They were on
podcast.
meth, right? Weren't they giving them meth?
They were giving them all kinds of shit. And just they were telling them they were gonna live.
Oh wow!
Yeah, you're gonna live.
That was the Wild West back then.
Yeah, wild shit, man. Anyways, back to Hawaii. So, have you been to like? Is there parts that are like where you can go in and it's like a national forest almost? Like you can go in and it's just untouched.
There are protected areas. There are like national parks where they have like it's like any other national park like Yellowstone, where it's like there's paths that you can't stray from and it's like protected.
Do they have predators there? Is there anything big over there?
Not really.
I just saw a
Weasels.
crazy ass. They have a lot of hogs, right? There's a lot of pigs.
Yeah. That's a big issue. There's a ton of them, and they go in and they like uproot people's like gardens and stuff.
They're doing that here.
Yeah, that's a big issue here in Texas.
And they're trying, like, sometimes they like hire out people to like go and hunt them, but a lot of the times like the city board will just be like, y'all can like go out and hunt them and like keep them eating stuff.
Money is a son of a bitch, because I look at shit like this and I'm like, how can you go in there and tear it up and build a building? Like that would hurt. That would hurt me so bad to see them just bulldoze everything. Have you seen where they do that with where the lizards live, the Komodo dragons?
No.
That's a fucking sad thing. There's a picture of like a bulldozer, and this Komodo dragon is just looking at it, and that's how can you do that? Like I couldn't like, if I was the driver of that thing, I can't do this.
I like how your sympathy is for a giant lizard.
Oh, I love giant lizards.
Because those are wicked too, bro.
People
Komodo
can
dragons.
leave.
No, I know.
These things can't
Trust
leave.
me, I love nature. Do you know what's going on with the rainforest right now?
They're cutting it
Amazon
down.
rainforest?
They just killed the man in the hole. Have you heard of that?
The man
I saw
in the
that.
hole.
I saw that.
There's like a one man left in this tribe that
One
was like
sole
ancient,
survivor of like a
like
native tribe.
an ancient tribe, and he's been around since the 70s, and I guess the farmers hired people to go and kill him, and they killed him.
Fuck.
Shit.
Yeah, it sucks.
The man in the hole.
Brazil is failing us.
I understand in Hawaii it's sunny, but how is the weather? Is it hot? Or
Rains a lot.
So the seasons aren't like typical seasons. It's kind of like moderate year round. It like stays like 85 most of the time. And when I was living there, we had like not scheduled, but like a daily rain shower anywhere between like 1 and 3 p.m. that would last about an hour, and then you'd get a rainbow after, and it'd be sunny for the rest of the
that's where like the
Sounds
rain
like
clouds
paradise.
like start, right? I've heard that's where they start and they come to the US.
It's just so close to the equator that like the climate is really fixed.
Nice. Hey, I know y'all think I'm always trying to talk about UFOs,
Oh hell!
but I just saw a video, I think, really recently about a UFO over Hawaii.
Why wouldn't it?
Look that up right now. I'm
You sure
serious.
it's
It's one of the
some Chinese
craziest
drone?
looking videos. It could be a drone, but it's out there hovering over the ocean with a light on. It's like looking for something.
Well, that's where they say that they're living is in the
ocean.
Pacific Ocean.
This was like today.
Pacific, not specific.
News.
You should have looked up UFO in Hawaii, not aliens.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Never mind.
What is it called? It's not UFO.
Actually, you know what?
A unidentified aerial phenomenon.
UAP.
UAP.
I'll find the video and I'll send it to
Okay.
Roy's Instagram.
Okay.
The snake pit.
I've heard Hawaii's the best. Like, there's a mountain over there. That's like the best view of the stars. Yeah.
There's
It's a telescope over there, right?
it's Mauna Kea. There's like a whole bunch of petitions.
Isn't bad? Like they tore up the whole land for that.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of like construction to try and construct another like telescope because it's such like a good vantage point for like star study. But that's like sacred land, so like they've been protesting,
Which
that
sucks, 'cause,
for
like,
years.
It would probably do humanity. I mean, it probably could help us progress with that telescope. But you're also that is sacred land.
There's pros and cons.
This is sacred land. You guys took it from us. Fuck y'all. Can you imagine what this would have been like if nothing, like no Europeans came?
Dude,
How shitty life would have been here.
the Comanches. I've been
They
reading that
are.
book
We
about
would
the
have all been Comanches fighting for our lives every fucking day.
Sounds beautiful.
Hell, we actually
No.
wouldn't be here right
Bro,
now.
Yeah.
they were brutal. I've been looking into that shit too.
Yeah, I know they're.
They were brutal.
I had a professor tell me, I didn't know how much like merit this was, but like now that you say that, she was telling me about how like people in this area would like put stakes out and like stake people like on these
They would capture white women.
and like stake them and like leave them out to dry, like to shrivel up like in the sun.
That was their whole point, was to go get white women, children, and old ladies and rape them, and then they would do that or just leave their head on a spike.
Not every time though. I mean, a lot of that.
It's Comanches.
Yeah, I know, but have you heard of Cynthia Ann Parker?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, so she was assimilated into the Comanches culture, and then she gave birth to a son who became like the greatest Comanche chief. He was the last one fighting against the American Army
Texas Rangers.
over this land in this area. Yeah,
Fucking wild.
they
There's
talk
nothing
about-
here. You wouldn't know. There's no like.
Yeah, they say that west
Nothing.
of the 80th meridian, it's just like a sea of grass. So back then there was no landmarkers, so you could get lost. It was really dangerous. You know, a lot of people died.
I bet.
Can you imagine running into the Comanches? And you know,
I would have been one of them probably.
I wondered how come the Spanish, after conquering Mexico, didn't just keep going all the way up into the Americas. And the answer is because they ran into the fucking Comanches and they stopped them.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's wild. The real history of this whole area is
they mastered the horse.
history is just bloody and horrible. Anyways, we live in a fucking like golden age of just luxury. It's not. Can you know? This is the first time like humans aren't fighting like the way.
Yeah,
you
we
know,
have so much sympathy.
200
towards
years
each other.
ago.
There's so much more love. There's so much more consideration for.
Is it the
fellow man.
psychedelic renaissance?
Right now is, yeah, for sure. But anyway,
Okay, my bad.
Well, so you say you're a history student, right?
Art history, yeah.
Art history. Okay,
Art
never
history,
mind.
yeah.
Never
What were
mind.
you gonna say?
I was gonna ask if you had any knowledge on the Alamo and what you thought about the Alamo.
My knowledge of the Alamo stops at like 7th grade.
Here's a good
Like-
quote.
yeah,
Men didn't die at the Alamo for us to be drinking California wine. That was a Llano Cubano shirt. No, Llano Estacado.
uh-huh.
It was cool. It was a fucking badass shirt. I saw it the other day.
Yeah, the Alamo's crazy. General Santa Anna was a real asshole, apparently.
You know, Crockett, he came over here expecting the war to be over.
Uh-huh.
Like, he didn't want to fight. He was like, and then he, like, I guess I'm here. I'm gonna have to fucking fight. He didn't even want to fight.
Well, I mean, they were outnumbered like a lot.
Yeah, I think there was only like 300 Texans defending the Alamo against like 3,000 Mexicans.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Not cool to see, but that'd have been an interesting thing.
That'd be a great way to die, man. Think about dying in glory rather than like in a hospital bed of cancer because you've been exposed to these artificial chemicals your whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't want to think about that. That's coming. That's coming for a lot of us.
No, you got to go fast and die hard.
Do you learn about Texas art history? Is there such thing?
God damn it.
He's got a weedy.
We might have to take a pause. No, we'll be all right. You won't be able to hear it. He never wants to mow his yard. One fucking day he does.
Who is it, next door? Or the guy across his...
I don't know. I don't want them to be listening and hear it. Hear me talking shit.
I know Roy's got fans everywhere. He's basically like Lubbock's biggest celebrity.
I am, bro. Fuck no, man. I wish. Nobody subscribe if I am. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He just got a bunch of shadow followers.
It's been a while since we talked about this, but there was an art piece that was found in a Goodwill, right? I forgot.
Oh, it was a marble statue of from like Greece or something.
What? And it was found at
$40.
a Goodwill.
Yeah.
It's priceless.
A lot of stuff like
in Dallas,
collected art. It's bought out by like these rich white people, and it ends up in a collection of theirs. It sits in there. It sits in their attic, and it gets
Ricki,
sold.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If I had money, I'm gonna be one of those people because there's some shit that I want. I want some like Romans.
As you
helmets.
should,
cool.
Understandable. But think about like what's gonna happen to that like when you die.
I've said it.
It's gonna go to Goodwill.
No, all my possessions.
Because your grandkids ain't gonna know what it is. You can't explain it.
I've said this. I'm gonna write a will. All my possessions in like this big old funeral. What do they call it? A pyre or whatever. Burn my ass with all of my possessions.
Can I have the roadcaster?
Sure. Yeah, but nah.
You heard it here, folks.
I would like to think because my dad's into this shit, so I would think that my kids might be. If not, then it's gonna be burned with me. But no, I like. I'm with you though, because I have a bunch of like baseball collectibles, and I'm like, what am I doing with this? I just look at it. What's the fucking point? I guess it's a flex if you got money. But art does have money. Like art's one of those things you can buy and it appreciates in value. So it's an investment.
Yeah, and I think that anything could be art, whether it's the clothes that you're wearing or the random shit you find at Ross that you want to just put.
I miss
on
Ross.
a shelf or something.
Oh, not Ross. Was that other one?
TJ Maxx?
No, it was Savers.
Oh yeah, Marshall's is good too.
But is secretly every war fought because of art?
Beauty? Is war fought over beauty?
Yeah,
because it's a inspiring force. I was thinking about this. Yeah, because the most obvious example is like Helena of Troy.
Yeah, wasn't a lot of art and like war, like death. A lot of art came from like depicting war.
A lot of like European traditional like paintings do depict people like in battle. There's a lot of like memorial pieces like that try to paint people in a specific light. Like
it's pretty cool George Washington paintings, I'll tell you that.
Napoleon has a lot of paintings of him.
I like Napoleon.
Like there's one where he is visiting the plague victims at Jaffa. There's that famous one where he's like on the horse that's like rearing and on the side of the mountain.
Yeah,
badass. That's fucking badass.
And then a lot of these paintings that like you see depicting like hardship or like tragedy have like a darker like undertone to it. Like one of my favorite paintings ever is called The Raft of Medusa, and it was based off of a shipwreck. And it was supposed to be like it's a painting of like these people who are like on
Wrath, not
Raft. Yeah, Raft of Medusa. Raft. Like
like you're stranded in the ocean.
Like a ship. Yeah, like a shipwreck.
Oh.
No, dog, I didn't know that either.
Okay, so these guys were shipwrecked. They're on this like little like plank of wood, and that is like us who would be a slave, and he's like signaling for help, and that's supposed to be like a saving grace, and it was supposed to be social commentary about like in hardship we are like nothing if not like the same person.
What year did this come out?
17 something. I should know that.
18.
Okay, but while that was all like well and good social commentary about like classism and colorism, it is also about cannibalism.
Damn.
Like
cannibalism.
Like art has a lot of like darker undertones. Like these people, like this is like based off an actual event, and like the people who survived and recounted the whole like ordeal wrote like papers, and they wrote letters about like how they had to like eat each other.
Can you look up Harvester of Death? I'm trying to think of something. I remember I took an art history class. It was pretty cool. I liked it. No, it's not. That's not what I'm thinking of. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a fucking Civil War picture of just dead people. It's wild.
Is it a photo?
Yeah, it's a photo.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called. It's not a painting, it's a photo.
Oh, it's a photo.
It's like the first war ever photographed.
Did you take... So at Texas Tech, all of the art history courses are based around like a specific time period. So you can take 18th century and 19th century at the same time. You can take antiquity. You can take like modern and contemporary. Back to your question of like, do we study like people from Texas? It's only they ever show up in like modern and contemporary like context. There aren't a lot of, to my knowledge, like famous artists that like we have had to study that came out of Texas. There's a lot more like documented artists here now.
Yeah.
There's some pretty good art last night. Did you see any of it? You didn't.
At the art show?
Yeah, at the art show.
I mean, yeah, this is cool shit, I guess.
I mean, I guess my expectations were low.
That's
why I was pleasantly
I don't go to the art shows to fucking look at art. I'm not gonna lie. I go to communicate with people. I go to a network.
You gotta pretend that like you're looking at the art just so you can seem more sophisticated. No?
I'm trying to think if I've ever been moved by art, like in that sense. Maybe if I go to like Europe, because I'm sure there's a lot of cool shit in Europe.
Have you ever been to a great museum?
Nah, I've never been in one like that.
You'll be surprised. Like, you can spend a lot of time in there just staring at beauty.
Have you been to some of those?
I in this past June, I went to Cleveland and I did an internship at the Cleveland Museum of Art, and they had some really, really gorgeous pieces. And there was this specific room that had 5 really fucking huge paintings. They were like Greek mythology, and they were literally so beautiful I almost cried.
I would like to feel that one day, but I've just never been to something like that.
This place right here.
I felt that way about music, never about art. But
yeah, I did an internship in their conservation department.
This is in Cleveland?
Ohio. And I got to see some really cool, like famous, like painters' work, like up close. Like I almost touched a Picasso.
Have you ever been to the Dallas museum?
Dallas has some great museums down there, though. I've never been to Dallas.
It sucks. I'm go.
I've been outside of it, but I haven't been.
I've been in the airport.
Fuck those yuppies. Some motherfuckers.
The best museum I went to was in Bentonville, Arkansas. It's kind of random. But
did they have Confederate art?
It was dope. No, but that wasn't that trip. On a different trip, we were driving from here to North Carolina, and we went through the South, and we stopped at all the museums and the memorials and stuff. That shit was cool. It was intense.
It's wild that they like recognize a lot of shit that's pretty bad, huh? Like the memorials that they choose to think about are just fucking dirty ass Confederates.
We went to a Civil War cemetery. Yeah, it was cool. But they had some really cool architecture there.
It's
also
wild.
There's a building that looked a lot like this.
There's Civil War battles in Texas, and it's not even like that pretty or whatever the fuck.
I mean, South Texas, that's all.
Yeah, it's in Galveston.
But over here, like this part of Texas, I mean, this was all territory. Like Lubbock really didn't exist at that time.
This
so
was
there's
like 60 years later.
Like that's why we don't really have Confederates. Like Lubbock was.
What the fuck are you talking about?
No, like there wasn't.
These guys here are all
Lubbock,
Confederate remaining motherfuckers.
No, rednecks.
Well, here's the thing: when Lubbock was like established, a lot of the people that moved over here were from the Midwest. They weren't from like they weren't the Southern Texans, so there was a little different.
Shout out to my stepmom. She was showing me she's from Alabama. She's white. she was showing me her great grandfather or grandfather fucking Klansman.
Oh shit!
I was like, damn, dude. I mean, it's good that you have those pictures. You know, you gotta know.
It's good that you know your history.
I guess, but I was like, fuck.
Your cultural influences.
How would that motherfucker feel if you told him you're having kids with a Mexican boy? You know, like down the line.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Good thing we live in that world now. But fuck, he was in the Klan. That's pretty. I thought it was cool. I mean, it's not cool that he's a Klansman, but it's cool that they have documentation of it. They probably have his
shut up, Roy. Just shut up.
They probably have his robe somewhere. I don't know. That's my family, bro. Shout out to them.
You're gonna join?
Yeah. No. What the yeah. I might. We're gonna turn things around.
Oh shit, that's funny.
I don't know why I was talking about that.
It's interesting, dude. History is so interesting.
It is fucking. I love it.
I feel like it's important because it gives like context to life. And if you pay attention to what happened in the past, you can kind of predict the future a little bit.
Are you on TikTok or anything? Mm-hmm. Did you see that shit about the rape of Nanking?
Yes, I did.
Did you see that book?
I did, yeah.
Dude, that's fucking wild.
It's great.
Do you know about that shit?
I don't know enough to like speak on it because like I've seen so many like snippets of videos where she claimed to have been raped by a 14-year-old boy. Is this what we're talking about?
No, this is this guy got in a pawn. He has a pawn shop, and somebody brought him a book, and it's a book about what the Japanese were doing in the 30s.
I'm thinking of something totally different.
What are you thinking about? Tell us.
I'm thinking there was like a woman who like claimed to have been raped like when she was a child. And like they sentenced this little like black boy to death, and they in the electric chair, and like they executed him. And like, however many 60 years later, they reopened that case file and found out that like he had nothing to do with it, if she was even like raped at all.
Didn't she confess that didn't happen?
Yeah,
exonerated him all this time later.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of that going on now. That's crazy. A lot of people like reopening cases
and like figuring out that like none of these people like
Emmett Till, that girl who told on him, she's alive. They could arrest her. They arrested a Nazi. He was like 101. You can arrest these people still.
And it's all these like white people that are just like, oh, I'm gonna like sit here in my privilege and like claim to have been wronged, but like you're just nothing is ever bad happened to you.
History is wild.
Because now it's to the point. Now it's to the point like they're so old, they don't really get to like feel like that.
You can throw their ass in prison. Fuck it.
You can, but I mean, how they probably have like.
She's 80. It's like assisted living at that point.
She has to feel guilt. I want to believe there's something inside her that just feels bad about what she did. Mm-hmm. She has to.
What's that slave movie with Jamie Foxx?
Django
Unchained.
Is there another one? 10 Years a Slave.
12 Years a Slave.
12 Years a Slave.
Movie.
Dude, that movie fucked me up. Golly, it made me want to slap white people.
It depicted slavery.
I love white people. I love all people. Yeah, it depicted it very accurately. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Michael Fassbender. He was a son bitch.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. Yeah, man. That's a crazy movie.
Not too long ago. I'm sure there's some people who's alive today whose parents were slaves. I think. I'm pretty sure.
Hell, they're slaves right now.
That is also true.
It's just
there's slavery.
It's interesting to think. Okay, like here we are in this race right now. It's like a rat race, right? Modern times, everybody's just trying to get ahead financially. We're all just materialistic. But in this race, we all didn't start from the same starting point. You know, wherever your great grandparents started from, whether it was slavery or immigrating from Mexico,
indentured servitude, which was basically what the Mexicans were doing.
Yeah, but some of these people their grandparents were settling here in Texas in the 1800s and owning ranches, and starting with a head start in life. And it is what it is. The gun shoots and everybody says go, and here we are now. And I feel like we're making pretty good progress in terms of like minorities and stuff on the come up.
I would argue, yeah, we're one of the best places in the world to have a good start in life.
Yeah.
We're still fucked up.
It's a lot of progress. That's why I don't like people complaining, bro. Because there's so much progress. Yeah, there's a lot of racist ass people and things like that. But the past is the past. The best we can do is just, I guess, forgive each other and fucking move on. Because eventually all these racist people are going to die out. Mm-hmm. That's the best bet. Another 50 years.
All the boomers.
That's why it's crazy, the stuff y'all were talking about with the Cooper the other day.
Oh, yeah.
All this racism that's happening locally at this middle school. Like, what the fuck is that? It seems like we were so far beyond that.
Really?
It makes you wonder.
It is kind of weird.
Just like,
it's weird that people still live like that.
Is that because victimization and like people wanting to victimize themselves is a big thing, or is it because racism is still very much alive? Is it both?
It's probably both.
Ignorance,
I mean,
maybe.
Yeah. There's a lot of ignorance. You hang out with white people like that, like the older ones. They're I genuinely do believe there are still those ones that just hate people that aren't white.
Yeah, but not only, like we said this also last,
and that
podcast,
wears off on kids and shit, you know.
But not only white people are racist, bro. Every race is racist to a certain extent. Like Chris said, old Mexican grandmas are the most racist, and I can attest to that. My old Mexican grandma is very racist.
So is mine.
So it's like, it's everybody, man.
It is everybody.
You just got to learn.
I think it came from a time of just hardship. Those people grew up in a hard time. You fucking
I've heard crazy stories with my family because like they would have to hide certain things about their culture out in public. Like, you know, I went to Friendship, but so did my parents. But when my dad was, you know, going to elementary in the 60s, they would get in trouble if you were speaking Spanish because the teachers or the principals would take it as that you were secretly talking bad. I mean, they probably were, but you know, know, that's how they took it as. And another thing that trips me out is that if they brought like tacos or like breakfast burritos, they would either have to not bring it or they would have to hide that they were eating it, because not only that they would get made fun of because they were like, oh, he's eating his like beaner meal or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then because I have certain family members that tell these stories, and then their reactions are always like, yeah, and it's stupid because like all these white people tell you speak Spanish and they love the hell out of breakfast tacos now, but back then it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like that.
Can you imagine if the
shout out to my boy walking his dogs.
If the South would have won the Civil War, if there's just like key moments in history, there's key moments in history that if things wouldn't have gone the way that they did, how would the world be in 2022? Does that help you
probably be living
appreciate
in Mexico, dude?
Does that help you appreciate the progress, though?
Yeah, exactly.
The battles that have been
or
fought.
If the Nazis had won.
Exactly. Yeah.
That would have been insane.
Right.
We would all be dead.
And when I went to these film festivals for my film, I went to one in San Antonio called the 42 Cinefest, and there was this one short that this one person did, and it was talking about, you know, after the Alamo was won, you know, all these ranches all over Texas were all, you know, Mexicano owned. Mm-hmm. Like that was their property and everything. But what ended up happening was a lot of people went in and pretty much ran them off their land, destroyed their belongings, and they just took over that land.
I believe it.
And so just think about so many ranches that are here in Texas right now could be Mexican owned.
Damn.
But and they could be making all this money right now too.
Yeah.
But nope.
Fuck it, let's go take it back over.
I mean, their kids are worthless now, you know, so they ain't gonna hold on to that land much longer. Mm-hmm. People can start buying it back.
Well, hell, when you look at ranch histories, like the histories of ranches, all the workers are Mexican. Yeah.
In Hawaii, actually, like ranching is actually like a big like part of like the culture in Big Island, where I'm from. My sister was born in a city called Waimea. It's a ranching town, and like the first like ranchers that were introduced to Hawaii were like brought over by the king, and they were like Mexican.
Really?
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Damn. That's awesome.
King of Hawaii.
Hey, not to mention, we build fucking everything. You go to any construction site, I say we. I'm not even Mexican.
Us and Chinese people, him? Brother.
I'm not sure. I think that's King Kalakaua. I'm not sure if it was him or King Kamehameha.
So do Hawaiians share like the same sort of blood as like Samoans and Like, where, or are they just like, you know how like there's Mexicans?
Sort of, yeah. I think it's theorized that the first like people who landed on Hawaii were from like Tahiti. They're like Polynesian.
Polynesian, that's the word I was like.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been over there in that area?
Mm-mm. I've always wanted to.
I want to go there and I want to go to New Zealand.
I want to go to New Zealand so bad.
New Zealand
looks badass.
I have a friend who's from there.
There's
He always says mate.
There are some rowdy some bitches, are there?
I couldn't imagine I couldn't imagine the first people that had to travel to Hawaii.
It was the Vikings.
Well, like, but have you seen all these videos? Have you seen all these
love
videos
watching that
of
guy.
people now?
Yeah, I love it.
That travel alone by boat all the way to Hawaii and back.
It's a little white dude on his little boat.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a sextant and he was talking about how, like, that's what they use. Like, they use math. It's weird how they would get it. But
they use
he sexted what?
Yeah. I think that's what it's called.
A sextant, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like,
because he was using his GPS and he was like, I just want to try it out, see how accurate I am. And he was pretty damn accurate. They had very good knowledge of like the stars in the sky. That's what would help them out.
But that's so intense, dude. If there's anything that scares me, it's the open ocean.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking terrifying.
A lot of shit will eat you out there.
Like what he's saying, imagine being the first people. I wish we could go back in time and just like see those things being discovered.
Oh, I'm sure there was a lot of failed opportunities that
yeah.
You know, they believe the Egyptians were sailing around that area.
Hell,
circumnavigating.
There's no telling what actually happened back then, though.
But the UFOs do live in that area, in that water. That's what they say, anyways.
They live in this area, bro. You ever heard of the Lubbock Lights?
Yeah.
Look it up, please.
Yeah.
Can you look it up?
Well,
there's the Lubbock Lights, and then there's the Marfa Lights.
It's a B-52 bomber, dude. That's what it is.
The B-2 bomber.
Yeah, it's before it was
I
ever.
don't know, man.
That's a B-2 bomber, bro. Before the public ever got knowledge of it.
This is what you don't understand. Those are all separate crafts that were flying in formation.
Look up stealth bomber. Sorry.
Because that formation, that V formation, it's like a well-known formation in UFO circles, and it's
a fucking
that's
separate
what it is. Crafts that come together, like they'll pop out of nowhere, like they'll appear at different times at different elevations, and then they get in formation and they fly like that.
I just think it's weird that the Roswell UFO,
the one that took me looked like that. I'm not even kidding.
Well, it's kind of weird how in this area the Roswell UFO thing happened, and then after that, we had like the nuclear testing that's going on in New Mexico, like 2 hours away from here. The Roswell thing happens, then the Lubbock Lights thing happened,
right?
And then we get an Air Force base right after that.
Yeah, if you travel down the highway this way a little bit, about 2.5 hours, 3, that's where they were testing nukes.
Well, and that's where Roswell had.
Yeah, and Roswell's right down the street too.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And so,
which makes sense because they were coming to see us test nukes.
Yeah, so that's how we got them. Apparently, we baited them with the nukes because they started appearing around the nuclear sites. And then we shot them down.
Fucking A, I didn't even think about that.
And reverse engineered their technology.
So when was this? In the 50s?
1952.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Lubbock Light beer. That's pretty good. But
so have you heard of the Lubbock Lights?
Not this intensely.
So yeah, this was just a UFO sighting that
we also had an Air Force base.
Okay, hold on.
Pretty much the whole town.
It occurred over 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
Mind you, we had an Air Force base at this time. So.
And also, the reason that why this is so significant is it was the first time where there was credible witnesses, right? So rich affluent white people, professors actually, who just so happened to all be in this one guy's backyard smoking a joint.
The only reason that this has merit is because they're like professors.
Yeah, that does kind of suck.
And they saw it a couple times.
Well, and those tech professors ended up working like with the
Project
CIA. Yeah,
Project
like,
Blue Book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a Project Blue Book
on history,
like series.
Yeah, I love it.
And they do the Lubbock Lights.
They do a whole episode.
It's not Lubbock, but
yeah, I love that show. Project Blue Book on history. What kind of music do
you listen
to? Alternative, bro.
A little bit, yeah. A lot of like pop punk and like rock music.
Do you like Red Hot Chili Peppers?
I do like. Yeah, we were
jamming that out.
Mm-hmm.
Chili Peppers.
Do you do like your own art? Do you paint or something?
Not really.
The landscaping thing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so that's kind of like an art project. It's like an intersectional art project. I like technically like make art via plants. So I like plant flowers from seed and I raise them, and I don't create the like how the art is gonna look, but I just kind of like follow the plan, which like we consider like height differences of the flowers, and we consider like flowering periods and like color theory, and like doing our best to make sure these yards like look pretty. So I'm like planting like daisies and like verbena all day, and then I go into like people's yards and I just like transplant them and try to like make an urban area a little bit more green.
That's what you do every day?
Mm-hmm.
That's
awesome.
I have heard that is one of the things I heard, like, you know, conservation of water and all that. The lawns are like the biggest. It's useless. It's like, what's the point of
turf grass is a big like issue. Like Texas Tech, like the horticulture department, the plant and soil science department has like a turf grass like area where people literally just study like transpiration rates, so like water loss, water conservation, how to best like preserve like golf courses essentially.
Yeah.
And once they start like, I'll take climate shit seriously once they stop doing this golf courses. Unfortunately, it's the biggest fucking thing.
Get out of here with that
bro.
bullshit.
Dude,
it's the cows farting, bro.
No, it's the fucking pesticides that they use on this fucking, the chemicals they use and the water that they use. Killers. So once they stop doing that, then I'll be like, all right, it's time to get serious.
Let's all agree that we're all burning this bitch to the ground anyway.
Yeah, but that's one of the biggest ones. That's why I'm like, saying though.
So get on the golf course and enjoy life while we burn.
I will, and I'm just saying, when people speak out against it, you know, these celebrities, I'm like, well, what the fuck? You're out at the golf course. Shut the fuck up.
You're out at the golf course. You're like hopping on your jet for 15 minutes, a 15-minute flight that's going to like contribute to carbon like emissions.
Again, Ricki, I'm not gonna lie to you. That would be me if I had money, but I'm not out here telling you not to, you know, do these things. But you know, they say like, if you live by a golf course, like a lot of people are gonna get cancer.
Hit by golf balls if I'm there. Oh,
well, we do a house near a golf course. That scares me because there's broken windows every time.
So, are you applying these chemicals, Roy? Tell us more about these chemicals.
We are. Yeah, we landscape. Yeah, we apply some chemicals.
Okay, see, now we're really getting to it here.
It's unfortunate, but what pays the bills?
What's the purpose of the chemicals? Like, is there some?
It's like a grub killer, and then it kills weeds.
Yeah,
it kills anything that's not the grass.
Are weeds necessarily a bad thing, though?
Yeah, they're ugly. It's just
they're ugly, and a lot of the purpose of these chemicals is to eliminate like actual labor. Like, it's to like do the job quick and easy and like get it over with. Regardless.
See, this is a mass scale. Like, this is just a yard we do.
My wife's out in the front yard pulling weeds.
I think about that because we fuck with, I'm right sure. Now. Damn it, I don't know if I want to. I'm sure we should be, because we fuck with Roundup, and that's fucking horrible.
Weed, I don't use Roundup at my job. Like, we tried to stay away from Roundup. We got this
fucking pure Roundup, man. That shit's horrible. I'm like, man, I don't even know if we should be like, because my boss would be spraying that shit in me, just could probably just be breathing.
Put a mask on, dude.
I know, dude.
And it gets into the soil, it gets into the water system, and it's like recycled into like.
And we're pissing that shit out, aren't we? Like, everybody has it.
I saw that there was this study that
Zeroscape your yard.
That pretty much 80% of our products right now have some lace of Roundup, just because of all these big farms, they use all that.
You have to.
Every time,
and they tell you that too, like in like their FDA whatever, they tell you like in the fine print, there's like a little bit of Roundup in here, and there's probably like a cockroach in there too.
Nice.
I've heard there's a lot of cockroaches in coffee, actually.
Ooh,
yeah,
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Like in the grounds, it's just a lot of it's like mushed
fine.
up.
It's not eating shit.
So my daughter's acting all grossed out by a cockroach. And I was like, think about it. What's the nastiest thing that cockroach has ever done?
Did you know they say people who are allergic to like crustaceans are also allergic to cockroaches?
Yeah.
It's weird.
You know what the creepiest thing is about a roach, though? Is they'll crawl into your ear and lay eggs.
That's disgusting.
I'll pass.
That's what creeps me out about cockroaches.
I mean, if that thing isn't walking around piles of shit, then you're fine. If it's coffee ground, it tastes a little better.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying. I drink coffee every day.
You know how they are. They want us to eat bugs.
They say we eat like 10 pounds of bugs per year without knowing.
I wouldn't mind it. I'm not opposed to eating it, but I'm not going to not eat meat.
Some people are like trying to actively like make the switch to implement more like insects into our diet because they're such high protein. Like there's a company, I don't know if they're based out of Texas, but it's a US company that like makes protein bars out of like crickets.
Oh shit.
Yeah. This is a lot. It's a lot of protein,
I mean,
right?
overseas they do it. So
Mhm.
Do you eat meat?
Mhm.
I was just asking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. Thankfully.
No, I'm not opposed to
meat.
like eating bugs. Hell, it probably tastes good.
Flies don't.
But a
taste good.
fucking steak tastes fucking delicious too, people. You know?
Yeah.
A nice good steak with some beer and the bros. Can't beat that. So
Yeah.
fuck your World Economic Forum bullshit that they're trying to throw at us.
What's your favorite steak, Roy? If you're going out,
Whatever one, man. I don't really.
Whatever one. You don't have a place?
I don't have. Go to the Clairvoyant. They got good steak. I don't know what it is. Good, nice.
you
steak.
getting the ribeye?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With mashed potatoes.
Mm.
Damn, I haven't ate today. I'm hungry.
I'm seriously ready for holiday foods.
Some Thanksgiving food.
Thanksgiving and then Christmas we either do tamales or fajitas.
Why don't people do that all year round, bro?
I know.
You gotta,
Make it special. Then
Yeah,
you want to
make
be
it special.
special.
I'm just talking shit.
Well, it seems like every year when we do Thanksgiving, when I'm eating that dinner, I'm like, man, I can't believe a year's just passed by. I have this.
Yeah, time flies. That's why I stopped trying to measure life in years. Just take yourself out of that format of measuring things by the years.
Is time an illusion?
It's too fast.
It's
Hold
a
on.
construct.
Take a pause on this because I want to talk about this, but I gotta go pee.
Okay. I guess you're right.
And we're back.
So is time an illusion?
Construct created by your own basal ganglia.
Created by white man.
So
Is it like? Can you like prove time in like with math?
I
No.
don't think so.
Basically,
Like you can prove
our concept,
time by aging.
our concept of time is based on the planets and
Entropy.
orbits and stuff.
Hmm.
That's right. Because if you go at the speed of light, time slows down. Just learned that.
Because of gravity.
It's Einstein's theory. Yeah.
And like different cultures have different like perspectives on like how many months are in a year, how much time is in a day, and it's kind of just like
But generally speaking, a lot of
The
it's
Romans
based
got it
on
pretty good.
A lot of it's based on the lunar phases.
exactly.
And it was relevant back then because the crops and when to plant, when to harvest, all that was based on that. So
That's why we
got
have
time.
like daylight savings time is
Yeah.
like to lengthen
Before
or
electricity, right?
to lengthen and shorten the
They
day
should get
so
rid of
you
that
can work
shit.
longer.
I don't mind fallback. It's spring forward that I have a problem with.
It's useless.
So there's
no
all
point.
that. There's all that, right? But then there's also each one of us as an individual has been raised in a particular culture that values productivity, and you're getting everything that you do has a time limit on it. Okay, so whether it's you're going to school or you're taking a shower or you should only spend this much time doing whatever task is, or it should take you this many years to become successful, whatever the fuck it may be. That's the construct that I'm talking about escaping.
That's the American construct,
And then also just like measuring your life by years.
which sucks though, because sometimes you gotta get it done. You know what I mean? Like you can't.
And you feel good being productive. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. Being productive feels good.
It's good for your mental health.
For sure.
You gotta work.
If we were
Whatever
able
it is.
if we were able to live, let's say, like 200 to 500 years, would our time be a little? Will we look at life a little differently?
Absolutely. And also, we wouldn't be in such a hurry, dog. Imagine if there was no such concept as being late. How much less anxiety would you
I can't
have?
rock with that. I hate when people are late. I hate.
Okay,
you know?
yeah, you got to have a little bit of order in
Yes.
terms of like if you want to meet up with somebody and rendezvous at a particular place.
You need a little structure in your life.
For sure, but I guess what I'm trying to say is like
Fuck that, man.
dude, I'm always late and I
Fucking
hate
that
hate
shit.
being in a hurry, dog. I hate having to like rush. Cause life's too
plan
fucking
accordingly.
short. No, life's too
fucking plan
short.
accordingly, dude. That's just how I've always been in my life. I've always
Okay, but how anxious are you?
Exactly. This
Yes.
hour
Proves my
I'm gonna
point.
do this
Case
30.
and study, people. Yeah,
But you know,
you should try to be a little more.
I can't. I've tried, dude. I just can't live like that.
Yeah,
I've never been like that.
I guess it's almost like I had to just accept it because there's times when I try so hard to be on time or be early, and something unusual, out of the ordinary circumstances will happen and make me late. So I'm like, fuck it. I've learned to just go with the flow and try to respect people's time. Yes, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was 5 minutes late. Hey, every time I come on time, we start late. So
how do you look at it, Ricki? How do you live your life? What's your philosophy?
I'm usually like fashionably early to things. I don't like being late. I like to be like either a little bit early or like kind of like on the dot. And I do give myself extra time to do things. Like if I have something to do that day, I plan like beforehand.
Time management.
Do you go to school right now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So is your day pretty much, your week pretty much planned out? Like, are you like, I'm gonna study or I'm gonna do whatever the fuck?
It's pretty fixed, yeah. In that way where I like know that I'll have something to do with people, and then I have a class. So if I do have free time, I usually like dedicate that to something that I can't do during class. Like I'll do like my laundry in between certain things, or I'll go do errands. I like try to do stuff with my time. I don't really have like what I consider free time. Yeah. I'm always like in that state of productivity where if like I'm stagnant, I'm like not doing it correctly.
For sure.
What are some of the things you like to do just to relax and,
To relax, I watch TV. I watch TV.
Those damn true crime, whatever the fuck.
Yeah. I watched the documentary series on D.B. Cooper.
Is that the guy that disappeared?
The guy who jumped out of the plane?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It was Loki.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
I watch TV. I like go on walks, or I take drives, or I just listen to new music. I like to listen to music a lot.
And what are you listening to right now?
Dance Gavin Dance released an album a couple months ago that I was listening to. Pierce the Veil has a new track that I really like.
Dude, he's walking another different dog.
Really, Roy? Describe the dog to us, Roy, for the people.
Well, there were small dogs at the first, and now there's a big black dog. Pierce the Veil. I know people like that shit. Mm-hmm. Can you look that up? Let me hear some of that. Let's get kicked off YouTube real quick.
Pierce the Veil. You won't get kicked off YouTube. You'll just get demonetized.
Ooh. Take away my money.
All that money that's coming in.
Yeah. There we go.
Thank you, people. Thank you all for subscribing.
Oh, yeah. Please subscribe.
You're making us rich. We could buy more cigars, more Bud Light.
Do you like to drink or anything? You like to party?
I drink socially.
Never get drunk, huh?
Sometimes I will. I got drunk the night before my birthday, which was fun. Tequila. Lots of tequila.
Tequila's good. As long as you know when to stop.
That's the problem, is you don't with tequila.
See, I suck at time management, but I'm good at managing drinking. Because I don't drink that much. I'm not a big drinker. But like on this weekend, I know we're going to party. And we've been partying since yesterday. So
absolutely.
Management. This beer, about halfway. It's only 12 o'clock.
So
what are we looking at? What are we doing?
I was just asking questions. That was Pierce the Veil.
My bad.
I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Are you a religious person?
Not anymore. I went to a private Christian school when I was like in elementary school. But after that, we went to church for like a little while until I was like 10 or 11, and I stopped. I didn't really like understand like the concept of organized religion, and I was kind of just like, this isn't for me.
Are we just talking like a Protestant church or is it like Catholic church?
My mom was raised Catholic, but I wasn't. It was just like some like derivative Christian fellowship. And then as I got older, I started getting into witchcraft.
Uh-oh.
So that's another thing, which some people think like Wicca is an organized religion, but I don't practice Wicca.
Yeah, and witchcraft gets a bad rap.
It does, because I've seen some fucking horrific shit from it, literally from a guy who was on this podcast. Spooky shit. What is it? Like, So my practice is basically like herbalism. I just like pay close attention to like what natural things can do for your like mental health or like your like actual health. Like
it's what doctors were before what we have
pharmaceutical
now.
Companies use this shit.
Yeah, it's holistic medicine. Yeah, that's like I use specific oils for my hair. I like have tinctures that help me calm down if I'm ever anxious. There's also like I have like crystals that I consult that are meant to help like boost certain moods. There's certain things like money bowls that people do. Anytime there's a full or a new moon, there's a lot of like
sacrificial
Are you gonna
victims.
kill a lamb?
I'm not gonna kill a lamb, but I'm gonna.
Do you burn
like,
some sage?
I don't burn sage. Some people view that as a closed practice,
Okay.
and I do not partake.
What
I'm
do
sorry.
you
I'm
mean?
sorry. What was your new moon ritual?
Yeah, sure.
I cut her off. I had
yeah.
to go back.
No, you're good. You're good.
Whatever he's asking.
So there's new moon and like full moon magic. All of this has to do with like new beginnings, productivity, like abundance, all that sort of things. You kind of it depends less on like your belief in the moon's power, more of like you're setting intentions for yourself.
Right.
Like you're setting goals and you're saying like you're speaking out into the universe. This is what I want for this new period of life.
Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna ask.
Damn it, Roy. My
Yeah,
bad,
that shit
bro.
does get a bad rap because, again, one of these people that actually West Texas Files, go listen to them. They actually just did a podcast about witches, and he was, I guess, hexed or some shit. Like this person cut these cats' heads off and threw him in his yard, and it came down to like this woman wanted to be with his dad, and he didn't want to be with her, so she did this shit to him as a child, and it's followed him his whole life.
That's crazy.
It's fucking creepy shit.
The stuff that I do is never like for the detriment of other people. It's always for like the betterment of myself, whether that's like spiritually, emotionally, financially. It's all about like being the best version of yourself so you can like be good to the universe and other people.
Yeah, that's black magic. Yeah, I've looked into it too, and basically.
Did you listen to the episode?
I listened to some
Dave
of it.
Mustaine.
No, it was West Texas Files.
Oh, but did you hear?
Yeah, he
his-
wrote lyrics about hexing somebody.
Yeah,
He had sex with a girl when he chose, something like that.
Uh-huh.
a
Weird
sex
shit.
hex or some
Yeah.
shit like that.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's sex magic too. Basically, it's just a manifestation ritual.
I think that's what he did to have sex with this woman, and she did. Does that shit come at like at a price though? Like if you're doing this shit,
It can, and it probably does. I don't practice.
Do you know people that do?
In that way, I know of people who do.
do you have like gatherings of the witches or something?
There are. There's like a Facebook group of like Lubbock witches.
I don't believe those people. Like if you're out there doing that,
I'm not a part
You know what I'm
of
saying?
I'm not a part of my roommate is also a practicing witch, so like any like group things that I do, I just like do with her.
Have you ever done tarot cards?
I have a bunch of tarot decks. I have
Okay.
tarot decks and I have oracle decks. And
what's an oracle deck?
An oracle deck is like a variant of a tarot deck where it's like there's a lot less like structure.
Yeah. You have to excuse me because I grew up Catholic, and
No,
that
it's okay.
part of the Catholic in me still is like,
Nah, it's-
Scary.
stay away from that shit.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's certain things that I'm
called
not gonna touch a Ouija board or nothing.
another one that's fucking creepy.
I was just gonna say all the shit that happened during the fucking Reformation and all that.
It's happening now.
That's why there's so much fear when it comes to these topics, but it's all just an illusion. Yeah, because this stuff is like naturally good stuff that was medicine or mental health before there was civilization. That's all it is.
Do you dabble in the psychedelics?
Mm-mm. I did when I was younger, but not anymore.
And Roy, like what you're talking about, from what I understand, there's black magic, right?
Well, yeah, that's definitely black magic.
And there's demonism, and this all comes from King Solomon, the same King Solomon who's in the Christian Bible. He's credited with writing the Book of Proverbs. He's known as the wisest man that ever lived, right? And he had a book on demonology, and where he lists all these different names of these spirits and what their strengths are and how they can help you here in this existence. And so whenever you see the star with the circle around it and the candles and shit, that's actually to protect you from evil spirits. You're supposed to be able to summon the angels first before you start summoning demons.
I didn't even think about that.
And if you summon a demon to do your bidding, usually
It's your soul.
usually it's in the next life. Like the demon will do your bidding in this world in exchange for your soul in the next one. Yeah.
So selling your soul is like real. You can do that.
Apparently, yeah.
Musicians and shit.
But what I'm referring to specifically is King Solomon's book on demonology. Yeah.
It's fucking weird shit, man.
But then you have all different types, because these things sprung up in every culture. Every ancient culture has their version of voodoo or hexing and that kind of shit, spelling. And I think
Skinwalkers.
What we don't realize, dude, is we're constantly casting spells on ourselves, on our surroundings, the things that you say, things that you're focused on. We're creating this reality and this existence. And that's basically what magic is.
Apparently curse words are actually true curse words.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing it constantly because
That's funny.
The truth is, we're not that well versed on the true nature of reality, right? So we're given whatever box we're born into, whether it's religious or just the social structure, and these are the rules, right? But who the fuck really knows what the rules are? So you get these weird things that pop up, like whether it's magic or demonism or, talking to the dead, or even, things that happen to everybody, like dreams. Sometimes you'll have a dream, a premonition, and we're like, what the fuck is that? It's because we're so far disconnected from what's really going on.
Being modern life took away magic, in a sense.
It didn't take it away, but it brainwashed us to a point where we're just living in a little box. Like the possibilities are literally endless if you open your mind. That's all I gotta say.
It's crazy how every culture, like on their own, discovered like astrology. Not so much like the teenage girl like astrology, but like true
mythology.
I mean, can you imagine the sky
or the navigator?
I mean, that's all they did back then, was just looked at the sky,
do mushrooms, and look at the sky.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
all you had to do.
Dance around.
But on top of that, like every like sign, they pretty much had the same name for it. Like, it's weird how every culture adapted that on their own.
I mean, I think that right now it might seem that way because we're getting the one that was chosen and accepted. But they had different names for it.
But do you also think that culture, we don't understand that culture these civilizations were probably exchanging information with each other?
That is true.
Do you think that was happening as well? Like,
yeah, they were.
And there are plenty of cultures that don't have written traditions as well. Like a lot of Hawaiian history is like oral. So like there are teachings that were lost just because nobody ever wrote them down.
Yeah.
So there's things that like we won't be able to understand about certain cultures because it was never documented.
For sure.
Do they do a lot of singing and dancing? I want to witness that.
Yeah, and there's a big misunderstanding when it comes to mythology. When it comes to Greek mythology, any type of mythology.
It's life stories, right?
Well, yeah, it's essentially these beautiful metaphors for obstacles and heartbreaks and things that we are going to encounter in our everyday life.
Dude, that's what Matt and Shane were like. How did those fucking motherfuckers in ancient Greece get life right like that? Like, they understood life that we're still dealing with to this day. Like, these fuckers were...
Yeah, go read Aristotle, go read Plato.
They
that
understood
so
life
relevant.
That much that 2,000, 3,000 years later, people are still looking to them.
And you know why? It's because they're humans. That's one thing that we all can relate to, is that we're all basically functioning with the same hardware, the same software. So it's so relatable, because at our core, what do we really want? Everybody just wants to be loved and accepted.
I was going to say food and sex.
Food and sex, that too. It's in there.
Yeah. So do you, I have no other way about, do you believe like there's a God or something?
In that way, I'm like agnostic, where it's like there could be something larger. There probably is something larger than me that I don't have any comprehension of.
You're not ruling out the possibility.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because like, I feel like it'd be kind of strange, if not maybe conceited, that we're just like the most sentient beings in the universe. Like the human race is like just came, like evolved from oblivion, and
that would really suck.
That'd be beautiful.
It would really suck.
No,
I think it would really suck if we're the only thing that ever came of this.
Yeah,
that's like a big thing when people talk about like aliens. People are like, no, we're like human beings are the most like sentient, the most like evolved.
Yeah.
If you believe that, you're dumb.
Exactly.
If you think that human beings are the most evolved like species in the universe that is ever expanding, like it is literally getting bigger as we speak, like you're kind of dumb.
Definitely, you're really dumb. I agree with that.
It's a weird thing to think about.
Yeah, I say it all the time. I said it 5,000 times. Like our recorded history is only 10,000 years at the longest. You know, the Sumerian tablets that are in clay, and that ain't shit on the grand scale. Something could have. Have you heard of the ultra-terrestrial theory?
Mm-mm.
Basically, it's the idea that something evolved here way before we were even a thought,
Mm-hmm. and
it became interplanetary, and it basically that's what we're seeing now is these UFOs who they were here way before us, and now they're hiding in the ocean, and we're basically just like the surface creatures of the earth. They look down on us like, let's go jack one of those hillbillies and do some experiments on them.
Perfect person to do it to. Nobody's gonna believe them.
Yeah, that's really strange. But let's not get back on UFOs.
Oh man, we could talk about that all day. Dude, that's really cool. Well, I think we're gonna have to. We got a good hour and a half in. So, do you want them to follow you on anything? You got any final words for the people out there?
Sure. I'm at Hello Amele on Instagram. Hello Amele.
That's close.
Close, yeah. That's me on Instagram. You can follow the Mesquite Mile or the Inside Kids podcast that I used to host. Either would be cool. But yeah.
How many episodes did y'all do on that podcast?
A good maybe 20 or so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's some content.
My boss did a couple before me, and then I did a good handful of episodes too.
I'm not sharing a cigar with you, buddy.
I just thought you wanted to hit.
Did you hear us talking about this at the beginning?
Oh, you can cut it and then hit it.
Just one little hit. I wasn't gonna go back and forth with you.
Off camera.
All right.
Well, people, this is episode 203. Swagadelic, thanks for helping us.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Be on the lookout for our sports podcast coming out soon. Probably next week.
Next week.
Yeah, we can't do it tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, we can if you want.
I'll let you know.
Do you want them to follow you anywhere?
Gotta study up. You can follow me on Instagram at Mr. Swagadelic. That's about it. I got a YouTube page, but I'm not really doing shit right now.
You need to get on it.
I need
Bradley?
to get on it.
Follow me at Bradley Garcia. I'm starting to get back on projects again.
Good.
Because I need
You
to.
need to.
It's been the off season, right, Bradley?
Yep.
You're back and better. Pirate Radio, Instagram, Twitter, Snake Pit, Instagram and Twitter, Facebook, all that shit. Please subscribe if you're listening. We should have the audio for this one. So, guys, thanks. And we'll see you guys next time. One love.
Keep it real. Stay easy.